Rama Rama Hare.
You can have it. Is it too high?
This?
Yeah.
A little bit, yeah. But yeah, that's probably a good idea, actually. Oh, that's perfect. It fits.
All right, we'll turn it on.
Yeah, turn around, yeah. Perfect. That's fine. That's fine. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, everybody. Welcome to the class. Thank you for coming. Before we start, we're just going to do a very quick Kirtan. If you know it, please do join in. Jai Radha Madhav. Jai Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari
Jaya 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 Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari
Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari
Yashodanandana Rajajana Ranjana
Yashodanandana Rajana Ranjana
Yashodanandana Rajajana Ranjana
Yashodanandana Rajana Ranjana
Yashodanandana Rajajana Ranjana
Yashodanandana Rajana Ranjana
Yamuna Tira Vanachari
Yamuna Tira Vanachari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari
Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari
Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana
Yashodanandana Vrajana Ranjana
Yamuna Tira Vanachari
Yamuna Tira Vanachari
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jaya Radha Gokul Nanda, Radha Gokul Nanda, Shri Radhe.
Jaya Rama Gokul Nanda, Radha Gokul Nanda Radhe.
Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman, Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman.
Jaya Sita Ram Lakshmana Hanuman. Jaya Sita Ram Lakshmana Hanuman. Prabhupada.
I forget. Okay, Hare Krishna. Before we start the class, just going to do the invocation prayers. If you know it, please do join in. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostite Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshitarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Okay. Today we are going to be talking from a subject from the Bhagavad Gita. It's not going to be a specific text, but it's going to be a topic. And the topic today is, I'm sure most of you, if not all of you, have heard it. The topic today is karma. Show of hands if anyone knows. Everyone heard karma? Anyone not heard of the word karma? No? Okay, good. I thought so. Okay, so you all seem to know the words. These days, this word gets used in mainstream talk. Yesterday, I looked up online how many companies in the UK had the word karma in their company name. 1,500 companies, everything from insurance to gifts to finance, every sort of area you can think of. So people using this word, thinking that maybe somebody will come to them because they may get good karma. You never know. So this topic is quite big and quite wide-ranging topic, and it opens up so many different conversations because everybody has such differing levels of understanding. So to start, let me ask you, anybody who'd like to tell me what they understand by karma, what it means to them? Anybody? Don't be shy. Yeah. Yeah. Excellent. Yes, a scholar there. Exactly right. Actions taken, different types of karma, and depending on where you go, you get different reactions. So in the Bhagavad Gita, there are 5 topics that are discussed. Anybody know what these 5 are? Or shout them out if you know any of them. No? Okay, first is, I'll give you a hint. First is Ishwar, the Supreme Lord. Secondly is Jiva, the living entity or the soul. Prakriti, which is material nature. Kal, which is time. And the final one, anyone? Karma. Karma is the 5th one, and this is what we're going to be talking about today. So the first 4 are eternal. Karma is not necessarily eternal. Why not eternal? Because at the end of our life, depending on how we've lived our life, we may get a spiritual body or we may get a material body. If we end up getting a material body, it could be any one of 8.4 million species. So it could be man, could be demigod, could be a beast, bird, whatever. Now, we get reactions, as Prabhu said there, we get reactions from our activities, our karmas, depending on what we did, on what we are doing. So we may enjoy or suffer the results of what we do. Now, there are many different schools of thought on how this world is created and how it runs. For example, a lot of the scientists, they believe in the Big Bang Theory. I'm sure you've all heard. They think that things just happened by chance. There was an explosion and suddenly everything just happened. So some people even think that this life is just this life. There's nothing else after this. So I'm just going to go ahead and do whatever I want. Nothing's going to happen. And by the end, when I finish this life, then I'll just perish. And so what do I need to listen to anybody about how I should be living this life? So there is in India, there's a monk, Chaitanya Charandas, who's a brilliant speaker. He's a mentor, he's a spiritual teacher. And he uses, in one of his lectures, he uses a really nice, he uses an analogy. And being in India, I guess cricket is the obvious kind of thing to use. And so he says, he uses this analogy to between a cricket scoreboard, and the world view we have of the world. So he says, imagine that a number of people go to a cricket ground, they look up at the scoreboard as they get there, and one team has got already 500 runs on there, and the other team has got, 10, 15 or whatever. And they're kind of thinking, well, how has this happened? We've only just got here. How can these two teams have these runs already scored? So how does this happen? Well, they think, I don't know, can't answer it, so maybe it just happened by chance. The scoreboard just shows it. I don't know how it happened. And he compares that to the worldview. The world just got created by chance. Big Bang Theory. And then he says, maybe it wasn't just by chance. Maybe there's a scoreboard keeper there, and he's biased towards one of the teams, and he's already put the scores up for this team because he's biased towards that team and not the other. And that's how it happened. This is why the scores are up there on the board already. the equivalent worldview, where there's lots of religions who believe that God just arbitrarily gives us things. So he may give somebody really good health, somebody really bad health. He may give somebody loads of wealth, some no wealth whatsoever. But he just does it arbitrarily because he just fancies doing that. And he's biased towards some people and not others. But of course, we don't think that, because Krishna in the 9th chapter, in the 29th verse, he says, Samoham sarva bhuteshu name dveshyot na priya. I'm equal to all, he says. I'm not biased towards anybody. And anyway, why would you want to love a God who arbitrarily gives to some and not to others, just because he feels like it and just because he has some bias towards someone? So we have two options of why this scoreboard has this score on it already, but there is a third. The people come in, they've come in, and the reason the board has got the scores already on there is because they've come in on the second day and this is the second innings. And therefore the two teams have already scored from their previous day. So the worldview is that our starting points are determined by our own actions and karmas. So just like the two teams already had done their action in the previous innings and now have those runs on the board, we have all performed differing levels of good, and accordingly we get different starting points in life. So our starting points, where are we are in life. So you may look around and you see some people who've got everything and some people who've got nothing, and you wonder why is this happening? Why do they get everything? Why these people don't get anything? But it all goes back to your karmas, what you did in your previous lives, and you're now getting the reactions of. So we need to learn to make healthier and good choices in this life to make sure that we progress better in our future lives. Now, you might have heard of somebody called Isaac Newton. Everyone heard? Anyone? Yeah? Who was he? Yeah, absolutely. He was an English mathematician who formulated the theory of universal gravity. And his theory says very simply that for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. It all started when Newton saw an apple fall from a tree. And whereas most people might just pick it up and eat it or just walk past it, he sat there and thought, why did that apple fall in that way? So just as Newton's law talks about a reaction to an action, there is action and reaction in life too. But, as Chaitanya Charandas says, he mentions in his lecture that Newton's law only talks about physical objects, whereas in life, when we talk about karma, we include consciousness, conscious being, who makes moral choices. Choices can be more right or more wrong. Therefore, it is much more complicated. Of course, Newton said that equal and opposite reaction. We don't say opposite, we just say equal. You do good, you get good. Do bad, you get bad. Although there is some more to it. It's a little bit more complicated than that. So there are three types of karma, as Prabhu mentioned. There is what we call good karma. It can be called sukarma. Sukarma is actions that you take which are performed in terms of one's prescribed duties in the Bhagavad Gita, or in the scriptures, And then there's vikarma. Vikarma is bad karma, prohibited actions. So actions that are performed by the misuse of one's freedom. So some people will know that. So there'll be some people who just don't know that there are some rules and regulations, and they'll just carry on living life as per normal. But there'll be some who know that there are some rules and regulations in our scriptures, but they'll think, I can't really be bothered. I've got a nice house, I've got a nice car, I've got a family, I go on 3 holidays a year. I don't really want to get involved in all these rules and regulations. So it's completely going against what the scriptures say. And then the third one is the one that we should all be aiming for. It is akarma. What does anybody have an idea? Apart from Prabhu, I know you know. But anybody else know what akarma is? What does it mean? Any ideas? Yeah. Yeah, you could say balanced. Yeah. In what way? Not quite. Close, but not quite. Akarma is actually when you are... the actions that you're taking are purely for Krishna. So think of it as a spiritual bank balance. So in the material world, you have a bank and you just want to keep putting more in and you want to see your wealth accumulate. In the spiritual world, the bank balance at the end of your life needs to be zero. So when you're performing akarma, you're doing everything, all your actions, everything is for Krishna. And for that, you get no reactions whatsoever. For both the others, you'll get reactions, whether you're doing good things or not. You know, people will take up a lot of philanthropic endeavors. They'll help with charities and they'll help build schools and hospitals and all sorts of things. And then there's the bad karma and people do bad things. But in either case, you still have to come back to this world to get your rewards or reactions. So therefore, what we're trying to aim for is getting that zero balance in our spiritual bank, and that is done by doing everything for Krishna, our karma. There is another one, another karma, which is not widely known. Anybody know what that's called? There is another one called ugra karma. Not many people know this, and this is basically exceptionally bad karma. Prabhupada in his purports quite often mentions it. He mentions it and he calls it ferocious activities. He mainly speaks about big companies who are doing massive projects and having big factories and that. And he's saying that they don't realize that how they are moving towards destroying this world. So he says in the Srimad Bhagavatam, he said there's a purport, and he says, qualitatively, the living entity is the same as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but because of his forgetfulness, he gets different bodies in different planetary systems. At the present moment, human society is overly influenced by the mode of passion, and consequently, people are engaged in working in big factories. They forget how distressful it is to live in such places. In the Bhagavad Gita, such activities are described as ugra karma, that is, distressful activities. Luckily, we have so many excellent speakers on our scriptures. And there's another Prabhu, Amarendra Prabhu, some of you may have heard him, listen to his lectures. He described karmas as boomerangs. He said when you throw them away, they keep coming back. You can't get away with it. Karma is karma. So, like the spiritual bank balance, you aim for a zero balance. If you've ever had a good balance, then you have to come back. Everything you do for Krishna. You don't want reactions. So there's two ways. Sometimes people ask, how does Krishna deal with karma? So I heard quite a nice example once in a lecture. And they were saying that imagine there's a guy who's going to be living till 80. He doesn't know this, but of course Krishna does. And he's living his life as normal like anybody else. And then at the age of 50, he realizes, you know what, everything I'm doing is not making me happy. There's got to be something else to this. So he decides to pray to Krishna and tell him, you know what, from now on, I'm giving up all my material life and I'm going to turn to devotional service for Krishna. And that's all I'm going to do. And I'm going to live my life perfectly until I die. So Krishna obviously hears this, and he thinks, okay, this guy sounds like he means it. So here's what I'm going to do. He's 50 now, so I'm going to take all his karmas and I'm going to put him in a holding place. And when he gets to 80, when I know he's going to leave his body, I'm going to see if he kept to his promise or not. If he has, then there's one of two things Krishna could do. Either he could say, okay, you gave me a promise, and when you were about to pass away, you were still holding that promise. Therefore, I'm taking all the karmas, all the bad reactions that you've built up, I'm going to take them out of storage, and throw them away, and you can come back to me. Or he may say, okay, the way I'm going to deal with you is this. You're going to come back. But what I'm going to do at some point in your life is all the bad reactions that you've built up, I'm going to give them to you at a very, very quick pace. So you get a whole load of bad reactions in a very short space of time. That way you can burn off all the bad karmas that you've picked up, and then you can come back to me. Of course, we don't know that if this is 100% true, because nobody can know how Krishna deals with things. But this is one explanation. And we don't know whether you're going to get one or the other. So we need to remember that Krishna is the lawmaker. He designs this world. He's divine. And only by connecting to Krishna, specifically to Krishna, we'll get what we want. And by doing that, we'll get our karmas, our reactions minimized, the intensity of our karma reactions limited, or condensed, or cleared. There's a question that often comes up when we talk about karma. This question is, why do bad people flourish and why do good people suffer? You quite often see this. You see people who are living in a bad way, they're doing all sorts of things that you would not want them to be doing, and yet they've got a really good lifestyle, they've got a lot of wealth, and they're good looking, and they've got a big house and loads of friends, and they're doing everything that most people would like to do. And yet you look around and you see other people who are really, really good people, but all sorts of bad things keep happening to them, and you're kind of thinking, why would this happen? Why would God allow this to happen? But here's the thing. It's because of accumulative action and reaction. So there's another analogy. If you remember, if you imagine that a farmer has 3 grades of grain, A grade, B grade, C grade, and A grade being like very high grade, C grade being quite low grade, and he has some silos. You know, silos are like big, tall storage. And so he's been putting this C grade grain into this silo for a while now. And so he goes in, and then when he wants it at the bottom, he can take it out. So he puts in the C grade, he can take out the C grade. But one time he goes there and he goes to get the grain out, and instead of the C grade coming out, A grade comes out. Wow, this is brilliant. What a great silo, right? But why does that happen? Any ideas? Why would a silo where he's been filling in C grade grains at the bottom, when he takes it out, comes out as A grade? It's quite simple, actually. The answer is because earlier this month, the farmer had stored A grade grains in that silo. So he put loads of A grade in there, started pulling it out, and at some point in that month he decided, I'm going to start putting C grade in this silo. So what happens? At the bottom you get the A grade, and you keep getting the A grade until the A grade finishes. And then what happens? Then the C grade comes out. So similarly, some people may have done things in their past lives, or this life even. So they have a good stack of good karma. So if you've got somebody who's in their past life been absolutely brilliant, but in this life, you see them and you're thinking, this is one bad person I don't really want to get near. And yet, he's got everything in life that he wants. Well, that is because he's done all his good karmas in his previous life and he's now getting the reactions for that. He's getting the rewards for that. But at some point in his life, those good karmas good reactions are going to run out. And he's going to start getting hit by his bad karmas. So, it's like putting low quality grains in, but getting high quality grains out until a certain point. So the main point here is that the high quality grains will run out at some point, and the low quality grains will start coming out. Conversely, of course, some people who you see might have done a lot of bad things in their past life. So they now have a stock of bad karma, except in this life they are living life as they should. They're following the scriptures, then they're doing good. But all sorts of bad things are happening, and this is happening in the opposite way. They did bad things before, they're getting reactions now. Sooner or later, all the good stuff will start coming out. So, this is what we call a time lag. Not that people are being treated unfairly by Krishna, as some would believe, but it's because they are getting what they are due. So people also ask, why are bad things happening to good people? Why are bad people getting money, good health, etc., etc.? And it also raises another question: why do we have to suffer? Why do we have to suffer now for our actions? Why do we have to suffer for our actions in previous lives now? Wouldn't it be better if, when I was doing the bad things in my previous life, why wasn't it all dealt with immediately? We see in life, as in nature, things don't work like that. For example, if you take a number of different types of seeds and you plant them, so you may have seeds for a flower, some grains you may sow, seeds for a fruit tree maybe. Well, they all fructify, they all sprout at different times. So, you may plant some grains and 2-3 months later you're ready for harvesting them. But fruit trees, you may plant a fruit tree, it may take years before that fruit tree blossoms and you can get the fruits from it. So similarly in karma, every action that we commit is like one of those seeds that we sow. And these seeds fructify at different times. So we may sow a seed in previous life and get the reaction for it in this life. But we may also get it straight away. So for example, let's say you were eating a meal and you overeat, you absolutely stuff yourself. Well, the reaction for that is going to be you're going to get that very soon. It's going to be immediate because you're going to suffer from indigestion. Your stomach's going to feel really unhealthy. Or you may eat something which you are allergic to, in which case the reaction may come a few hours later. It may not come immediately. Or you may be somebody who's smoked a lot and you've been smoking for a while. And maybe after many years, you have to make that trip to the doctors and the doctors will give you some bad news. All that smoking has led to your lung cancer. But it may happen years and years after you've been doing it. So all the karmas, the reactions for the karmas we get, they don't all have to come now. They can come at any time. You may even harm somebody, mentally or physically. Maybe you get that in the next life too. Maybe somebody's treating you badly now, but you may have treated them in the same way in the previous life. So reactions to your actions may come at different times. Here's another question. Why doesn't God give all the karmic reactions in life? Why doesn't God give all the karmic reactions in this life? There's a really good example from the Shastras, from the scriptures, to explain this. I'm sure most of you have either watched or read or heard the Mahabharata. And there's it shows how karmic reactions work. After the Battle of Kurukshetra, Dhritarashtra's sons got killed, all 100 sons of his got killed. And he spoke to Krishna and he said, Krishna, I had 100 sons. Why did all 100 have to be killed? Could not one of them have been saved? Well, here's the thing. Krishna explained to him why. He said, this reaction that you got for this is not from this life. It's from many, many lives before. So the reason this happened was this. About 50 lives before, in one of his previous lives, Dhritarashtra was... Now there's slightly differing stories on this, but generally the principle is the same. He was either a hunter or he was quite a bad king, quite an evil king. And he used to like harming animals. He used to enjoy it. He used to like to see them. And so he'd seen some birds and he wanted to kill them, but the birds flew away before he had a chance. He got very, very angry. And at that time he saw a swan with 100 cygnets. Cygnets are baby swans. So he ordered all 100 of those baby swans to be killed at once. And on top of that, he ordered for that swan then to have his eyes, something stuck in his eyes to harm him. So Krishna said at that point, not only did you kill all these small baby swans, but you also made his father watch as it happened. He had to go through watching that. And you used to like poking the eyes of different animals just to see how much it would hurt, and enjoyed watching them as they struggled. And he said, that was 50 lives ago, and that's why it happened. So Dhritarashtra said, okay, I kind of get what you're saying, but here's my other question then. Why did it take me 50 lifetimes? Why didn't you give it to me then? So Krishna said it took you 50 lifetimes to perform punya, pious acts, to get to a point where you can become a king and have 100 sons. It's taken that many lifetimes to get to the point. And now that you've got to that point, now those karmas, the reactions for those karmas are kicking in. So these reactions, can either come in this life, it can come in minutes later, it can come in hours later, years later, or in several lifetimes after. There's a text called the Padma Purana. It's a text which includes sections on mythology and cosmology and rivers and seasons and temples and all sorts of things, geography and that. And there's a verse in there, and he says, Aprarabdha phalam papam kutam bijam phalan mukam kramna naiva palyeta Vishnu bhakti ratat manam. It says that it's talking about these seeds that we sow and what stages they're at. So it says, Kutam bijam phalon mukam. We have stock of seeds. So when we perform the sinful action, what we have, he says, as soon as you perform a good or bad activity, that seed is sown. And as time goes by, that seed sprouts, and when it's time, that fruit of that action comes back as a reaction. What this verse is explaining is the process of karma as seeds that fructify at different times. So if you imagine a diagram, I haven't got anything to show you, but if you imagine a diagram at the top, there's sinful actions. That's the papam, the sinful actions. And then below that you have aprarabdha, unmanifest reactions. So these are things that are going to happen, these reactions you're going to get, but they're not ready just yet. And then it says, kutam bijam phalon mukam. Well, kutam is like a stock, a storage area. And bijam is seeds. So you've got also, if you can imagine, a stock of seeds. These are seeds that are now ready. You've done things in the past, that seed was sown, and it's now ready to sprout and you become reactions. But it hasn't done it as yet, but you have that stock. But then next to that, you have prarabdha. These are reactions which are now starting to fructify. These are karmas that you've done in the past, and they are now starting to fructify and bear fruits, and these are things, reactions that you're being hit with. So he says that there are different stages of dormant reactions to sinful activities to be observed in a sinful life. Sinful reactions may just be waiting to take effect, phalon mukha. Reactions may be still further dormant, kuta. Or the reactions may be in a seed-like state, bija. In any case, it says all types of sinful reactions are vanquished one after another if a person engages in devotional service of Lord Vishnu. In the one final point I kind of want to make, in the Ishopanishad, there's which is another text. It says that the Supreme Lord walks and he does not walk. He's far away, but he's very near. He's within everything and he is yet outside of everything. And you kind of read that and think, well, what on earth does that mean? The thing is that people try to figure out how things are happening, why things are happening. And they're looking at these karmas and thinking, why is this happening to me? What did I do? But trying to figure out, you may read some of these scriptures and you may think, well, this bad thing happened to me, so I must have done something bad, right? This is the law of karma. So then you go looking for why it happened. The problem is you'll never find out why. It's like, an analogy I heard earlier was that it's like if you caught malaria because you got bitten by a mosquito and then go looking for that mosquito to see, well, which mosquito was it that caused me to catch this malaria. It's just a waste of time. There's no point, and you'll never... And even if you did find this mosquito, what are you going to do? There's nothing you can do about it. What a waste of time. So, in the same way, when people sit there and say, well, why did this happen? And they ponder on it for months and months and they try to figure out why this happened and why that happened. There's just no point because you're not going to find out. In the ninth chapter, in the second verse, Krishna is saying to Arjun, Rajavidya Rajaguhyam Pavitram Idam Uttamam Pratakshavagamam Dharmyam Susukam Kartam Avyavyam. He's telling him that all this information, this knowledge I'm giving you is the king of knowledge. He says the secret of all secrets. It's the purest knowledge you'll get. It's eternal. And he said, and it says, because it gives direct perception of the self by realization. So you're actually seeing when you perform devotional service, you're actually seeing these changes directly. He said, because of that, it is the perfect religion. So instead of figuring out why things have happened, people will say, well, why did Krishna do this to me? Why did this person do that to me? Instead of wasting your time doing that, it is better, like Prabhupada would say, often used to say, It's like if you catch an illness or you've got a disease or something and you're in a lot of pain and you go to hospital. You're not going to lie there in this bed and say to the doctor, well, before you give me any treatment, tell me where this came from, what it was, how did it happen, all these kind of things. You're in severe pain. You don't care how this happened. What you want is the treatment. Make me better. Apply that treatment now and make me better. And in the same way in life, bad things may be happening to you. But rather than sit there and try to figure out why it happened and who did this and who did that and why did they do this to me, the answer is quite simple. Turn to devotional service. It says in this verse that devotional service is joyfully performed. Susukam kartam, joyfully performed. You know, devotional service includes singing, dancing, eating prasadam. Who doesn't like that, right? This is devotional service. So instead of sitting there and wondering why things have happened to you, it would be better your time spent in starting to perform devotional service for Lord Vishnu. And how much easier can Krishna make it for us? What is the Yuga Dharma for this Yuga? Anybody? For Kali Yuga? Harinam Sankirtan. Absolutely. Krishna came down as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You see there in the middle. And he came down to deliver the souls, and he gave us the Mahamantra, the holy name. And for Kali Yuga, the best way to get out of this cycle of birth and death is simply by chanting. Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama Kevalam, Kalau Nastyaiva, 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 Gatir Anyata. In this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, it says the only means of deliverance is the chanting of the holy names of the Lord. There is no other way, there is no other way, there is no other way. Time is getting on. I'm going to stop there. I hope you found something that was of interest and maybe learned something. If you have any comments or questions, anybody? Nope. Either I said it really well or you just didn't understand a word of it. Either way, I hope you took something away from this. Thank you very much for coming to the class and listening so patiently. Hare Krishna.
Krishna. Can you all move to the chairs there, please? Gonna play them down? Can we? Yeah. For the Kirtan. Hare Krishna, Hare Hare Bo. Can be a little louder. Hare Krishna. Everyone, welcome to the mandir. So the arti starts at 7, but we can do some chanting before. But please join. Everyone knows the Maha Mantra. It's there on the gate as well. Thank you. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Go this way, please. Let's go here, that they don't go on this side. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, 1, 2, 3. Is everyone singing? Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya. Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya. Radharamana Hare Govinda Jaya Jaya. Radharamana Hare Govinda Jaya Jaya. Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya. Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya. Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman. Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman. Jaya Radha Gokulananda Radha Gokulananda Sri Radhe. Jaya Radha Gokulananda. Jaya Radha Gokulananda
Radha Gokula Nanda Jaya Jaya Radha Gokula Nanda Radha Gokula Nanda Hey Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Go Hari Bol Louder, Ki! Hey, now we're going to start first a Bengali song. The text is here, so please sing along. Ki bajayo, oh jaya, gore chande, arati kosoba. Now you Jaya Gole Chande Arati Kosoba Jahanave Tatvane Jagamana Loba Vadana Ujvala Gala Deshe Vanamala Gore Jala Mahala Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Everyone chant. Louder. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Goranitai, Jaya Goranitai, Jaya Goranitai. Jaya Sitaram, Lakshman Hanuman, Jaya Sitaram, Lakshman Hanuman. Jaya Radha, Gokulananda, Radha Gokulananda, Shri Radhe. Get ready. Jaya Radha, Gokulananda, Radha Gokulananda, Shri Radhe. Jaya Vishnupat Padmam Sapari Fratica Jaya Sutara Sati Sumati Divine Living Grace. Today's Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. Let's confound the Jaya Srila Prabhupada ki. Nandi Koti Vaishnavanya ki. Namachaya Srila Harirasa Kuki. Prem Sakal Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Chananda Sri Advaita Gadari Chivasari Gaura Bhaktivedanta ki. Shri Radha Krishna Gopakupanath Shyamakun Radha Kun Giri Govardhama ki. Sri Vrindavan Dhama ki. Kinavadi Vipava ki. Gangami Janamaki, Smarani ki, Bhakti Devi ki, Harinam Sankirtan ki, Transcendental Book Distribution ki, Go Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the lotus feet of Sri Sri Guru and Guranga. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Sitaram Lakshmananam Siji Gornitai ke. Namaste. Narasiraya Palada Lada Daine. Hiranya Kasi Parakshana. Bolo. Haribo. Nitako, Haribo, 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 Nitako, Haribo, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jai Jai Prabhupada. Jai Jai Gurudev, 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 Jai Jai Gurudev. Thank you very much. We all here gathered together thanks to one person behind you, Srila Prabhupada, who came with no money on a free passage to New York, but depending on Krishna, that he will take care of him. He was traveling on a boat, and on the boat, he got a heart attack. And because the sea was very rough. He arrived in Boston. He didn't know anyone. Cold. He was living and started to chant below a tree, just with symbols. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. And at that time, it was the period of the summer of love, which was cold. So many Westerners were, at that time, they were very spiritually searching. The parents were rich, sometimes millionaires, but they were not satisfied because they saw that their parents were not satisfied. So they were looking for something else. And so Srila Prabhupada, at one point, he started opening in a very rough neighborhood where drunken, how you call those people? Vagabonds, the ones who are sleeping on the street and drunk. Bums. They're lying in front of his door. And he started just starting Bhagavad Gita class. And then the Westerners came, and then the movement started to grow and grow and grow. And in this way, this movement evolved. And just by the power of one personality. So it's all depending on trusting in God and serve your Guru, because it was the request of the spiritual master when he was 22 to go to, because he said, you're an educated young man, you speak English, why don't you go and preach to the Western world? But then he was married, just married, and then when he was about 70 years, he finally thought, I have to fulfill the order of my spiritual master. So to have complete faith, to go somewhere with no money, and in a strange country where, you might eat vegetarian, So in that time, even when I was young, I'm 73, when I was young, in everything there was animal products, even in margarine or in anything. So it's yogurt, anything. And now, thanks to the vegetarian movement, now the vegan movement, you can go to the supermarket and see the products, what's in it, before you didn't even know. So now the movement has grown, and so please take it to heart. And if you don't have any of his books, then get one. Because in those books you find all the answers to your questions about why I'm here, what is the goal of life. Because we're living, we're working, and we have our family life. And in this time, even the women are working, the men are working, they have to cook, they have to do the laundry, They have to clean the house, take care of the children. So many women are having stress now. Before, they didn't have to work, and they were just drinking tea at 4 o'clock with the neighbors and clean the windows, and that was all, you know. But now they have to work, and it's very stressful. So if you read the books, and if you start chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So Mang means mind, and try to release your mind of whatever is troublesome. You're always thinking of something. So if you chant Hare Krishna, you chant the names of God. Krishna means, what is, anyone here who knows, any one of the guests who knows what Krishna means? The Sanskrit Krishna? No? Huh? Embracing. The all attractive. That's what it means. God is the all attractive. Why is he the most all attractive? Anyone knows? Anyone here? Because he's the most beautiful personality. The beautiful woman and man are created from his image. He is so beautiful that if you would see him, you would faint. It is described that if the living entity goes back to the spiritual world, when they see him, they go, oh. And then Krishna touches him, and by the touch, all the senses become like you know, the ears becomes like, you faint again, and then he starts speaking to you, and you faint again, so like that. So Hare is the love energy. It's Radharani. It's the love energy, and Ram means the source of all pleasure. So by chanting these names, it's the most. I wrote a song about it. It's, you know, it's the most wonderful sound I've ever heard. Chanted loud, and there's music playing. Chanted soft, and it's my way and the essence of praying. But thank you very much. So if you don't have any book yet, please purchase the book. If you don't have, if you haven't started to chant Hare Krishna, we have also Japamalas, and start chanting one time more together. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram. And then your life will be successful. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. So before you leave, we still have some activities still to go for the night. They'll be going all the way till 9:30. We have RT again at 9. We have Prashadam being served at the Haveli at the moment. And we have Kirtan going on right now. So those who are still energetic, please remain. Let's sing, let's dance. Those who need some energy, grab some food, then come back here. Hare Krishna! Hare Krishna!
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. If you're joining us for Kirtan, please take your seat. But if you aren't joining us for Kirtan, we kindly ask you to take your conversations outside. Thank you very much.
Hello, you alright? I'm claiming you today.
I'm deciding it.
Oh, I see how it is.
Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarine A little louder. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Krishna
Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Everyone together, please. Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare. Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama
Hare
Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, oh Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama
Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Sing with me. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Hare Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Namaste Narashinghaya. Namaste Narashinghaya. Namaste Narashinghaya. Praladhalad daine Praladhalad daine Hiranyakashi Purvaksha. Hiranyakashi Purvaksha. Shilatanka yato yato yami tato narsingha yato yami tato narsingha yato yato yami tato narsingha केशवदीता नरहरि रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे अवकर कमलवरे न कामधुत शृंगा दलिता Kashipur Tanu Bringa Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Rama Hare Hare Jaya Radha Gokula Nand Radha Gokula Nand Radha Gokula Nand Shri Radhe Jaya Radha Gokula Nand Radha Gokula Nand Radha Gokula Nand Shri Radhe Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman 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 Jaya Gaurani Dai Gaurani Dai Gaurani Dai Jaya Gaurani Dai Jaya Gaurani Dai Gaurani Dai Gaurani Dai Jaya Gaurani Dai Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Nitai Gaura Hari भगवान की जय, प्रहलाद महाराज की जय, शिला प्रभुपाद की जय, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि बोल।